Okay, so thank you for introducing yourself, and I know a few more will just come in over the next few moments, but I'm going to introduce your speakers today. So for those of you who haven't been to one of our webinars before, my name is Hans. I'm founder and director at HDK. I am a man in I'm a middle-aged man. I hate saying these visual descriptions. I'm a middle-aged man with a bald head and a dark cropped beard. And I'm wearing a sort of swirly green short sleeve shirt today. I hate saying, I've been working the arts sector for nearly 30 years. And I've worked in theatre venues and set up HDK about 20 years ago, 20 years in February coming up. And over that time, I have worked on various ticketing systems in venues, back to Pass 2, if any of you have an age to remember that system, Enter with Galathea, and with our clients these days, most of the ticketing systems around there. And what we're seeing what we're increasingly seeing is clients wanting to integrate systems with CRM. So we're seeing funding coming from organizations like Bloomberg. We're seeing Arts Council encouraging it as part of strategies in the last funding round. So we've seen that shift, and also the pandemic is another thing that seemed to push forward organizations integrating or setting up their own CRM systems. So I bring some of that experience, which I'll share with you in this session today. Joining me is Tugai. Tugai is a much younger man, dark hair, beard, brown eyes, wearing what are you wearing? I'm guessing you're wearing, I'm not looking at you at the moment, but I'm guessing you're wearing a dark t-shirt, like the picture here. And Tugai has been working for HDK for over 2 years. But before that, he was working very much in the commercial sector, working on Wall Street, has a lot of experience with big projects and integrating CRMs as part of that as well. At HDK, he's been helping clients make a choice between CRM systems when they're wanting to integrate those or take those on. Also joining us today is Linus. Linus is a fair-skinned, fair-haired guy with a moustache and a very sort of, I'd say that's more stubble than beard. He's also wearing glasses, blue eyes, and if I remember rightly, because I'm not looking at you at the moment, you're wearing a denim shirt, I think I remember from earlier on. So say hi, say hello to Guy and Linus.
Hello. Hello, everyone.
Great. So where does that take us? So that's our introduction. So we are from HDK. For those of you who don't know, we are a digital marketing agency. We specialize in building websites. We've been doing that for 20 years. But we also have a marketing team as well. We've always had a marketing as part of our offering, and we particularly create content. We do social media strategy. We've run campaigns, created copywriting as well, produced material, print stuff as well. So we also do all of those sort of things, but building websites has been at the core of what we do. And as I said earlier on, we're increasingly been steering our clients to help them choose CRM systems. We're completely agnostic to all of the systems that are out there, but we have had relationships, we've developed relationships with some as we've worked on complex projects. You'll hear more about some of those later on. So I just want to cover go over what we're going to cover today. So we're going to start off with an overview of what CRMs are. We're going to try and bring everyone up onto the same page of what CRMs are. You will have your own ideas, and we'll just try and sort of even out our understanding there. I'm then going to pick Tugai's brain and talk to him about the process of procuring a CRM system. I'm going to do a question and answer session with him. He doesn't know the questions I'm going to ask, so I'm going to try and keep it live and fresh that way. And then we're going to try an exercise, might get you involved, might try and make it interactive if it works. And that is maybe looking at different CRMs and what are the strengths between them. Again, we're not here to advocate any particular CRM, but maybe sort of get a feel of some of them that are out there. And by all means, if you are thinking of a particular one and it's on our system and we know about it, we can sort of focus on some of those as well. Then we'll do a little bit of housekeeping. We do it in every session, where we will ask you to complete a survey about how the webinar is going, and then we'll finish off with a Q&A. And because this is a big topic, I really hope that this Q&A is fruitful and you've got some good questions. Now, thinking about those questions, if they come to you, feel free to put them in the chat box. If it feels appropriate for us to answer them there and then, we will do. If not, we might save them to the Q&A. And I saw Sarah in the room. Sarah, we got your the question that you sent in advance, so we'll answer that for you. Maybe you can switch your microphone at that point and just sort of give a bit more depth to your question. So we've got that for later. And we've got another question. I don't know. Oh yeah, Carla is in the room as well. So Carla, we've got your question as well. So we'll answer that later on when we get to the Q&A. So I also I've failed to introduce Antonia. She is hosting the session. She's going to be operating the slides for us and just making sure we keep everything on track and really helping those of us who are not very good at multitasking. So thank you, Antonia. She's our esteemed project manager here at HDK and is working on some really exciting projects. So that is that. As I said, I do want to say we're going to try and keep this as interactive as possible. I know you're welcome to sit back and just absorb everything, but I think you will get more if you join in the interactive parts. It's just the way our brains work. I believe, you know, it's that Chinese proverb, you may have heard of it: what I hear, I forget; what I see, I remember; what I do, I understand. So please do get involved with the interactive bits. And just to illustrate that point, I'm going to fire off another question for you to put in the chat box. Some of you may have answered this as part of your introductions, but if you have worked on a CRM already, please list the ones that you have experience with already. I'd love to see what kind of experience there is already in the room. If you haven't, just put none, and then I'll know, but get us a vibe of what sort of experience we have with CRMs in the system. And you may put in some CRMs that I've not heard of. So please, 30 seconds, say, to start answering that question. Yes, I've used Capsule before myself. You know, yeah, these are really good. It's really helpful to come through. Razor's Edge, yeah. HubSpot, fantastic. Ticket Script, not one I've come across. Spectrix, yeah, we work with Spectrix a lot. Great, please carry on. If you haven't filled it out, please carry on putting your answers in. Linus, can you start us off and just bring us all onto the same page about what do we understand a CRM is?
Absolutely. Thank you, Hans. So what is a CRM? I guess that's a good place to start. So CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management, and it's a software or technology that businesses use to manage and analyze their interactions with current and potential customers. But we do recognize that CRM can mean different things to different people. And maybe a few of you can share what CRM means to you in the chat. We can maybe touch on those a little bit later on. But for the meantime, I'm just going to touch on a few different components of CRM and just detail a few of them. And the first component that I want to touch on is automation. So CRM automation is a method of automating necessary but repetitive manual tasks to streamline processes and improve productivity. So just as an example, this could be tracking leads in a sales role, or maybe even sending out mass emails as part of a marketing campaign. And that just, like I mentioned, that just streamlines processes and just makes you more, makes your organization more streamlined. The next part I'd like to touch on is customer service and contact management. Sorry. So this aspect of a CRM allows businesses to store and manage customer information. And this would be names, addresses, phone numbers, email addresses, and all other relevant details, really. And then it would serve as a centralized database for all customer data. And as an example here, I guess an arts organization would use a CRM system to manage a database of donors, payments, membership, sales, donation history, even giving preferences, and any other relevant data. And this would then enable the organization to personalize communication and engagement strategies to visitors and donors alike. Another part of a CRM that I'd like to touch on right now is integrations, especially with other tools. So any good CRM system is good to offer integration with other business tools and applications, such as email clients, marketing platforms, productivity software. And this enables seamless data exchange and enhances overall efficiency of the organization. Now, of course, a lot of these CRMs already have these tools built in, but some of them don't. And the option of this additional functionality is always a bonus. Some CRMs even offer social media integration, which then enables the organization to monitor social media interactions with customers and respond to inquiries or comments directly from the CRM platform. And I mean, you can ask our marketing team how important social media is in today's day and age. Now, the final and arguably the most important part of the CRM is data and analytics. Now, CRMs, they gather data from various sources: customer interactions, transactions, communication history, website visits, social media interactions, like I mentioned. And CRM analytics and reporting tools, they would provide insights into customer data and interactions. For example, a theater could track sales performance of a certain production, monitor customer behavior, and generate reports in order to make data-driven decisions. And that is becoming more and more important in today's day and age. Now, it's very important to remember that different CRM providers may package these features differently, and some systems might even offer additional functionalities beyond the ones that I mentioned. So when selecting a CRM system, it's absolutely essential to consider the specific requirements of your business and choose a solution that aligns with your goals and your processes.
Great. Thank you, Linus. That was really good to just sort of clarify what a CRM is. If anyone has any thoughts of any additional things that they want to add of what is important to them when they think about CRMs, yeah, please add that into the chat box, and I'll pick that out. While you do that, or while you think about that, I think it's time now to maybe focus on the procurement of a CRM, and I wanted to pick Tugai's brain here. So Tugai, I guess the thing is, before anyone commissions a new CRM, what's the first thing they should think about?
I think first and foremost is to think of your organization's actual needs. So to perhaps build a wish list. So based on your organization, what is it you do? Do you do ticketing? Do you do events? Do you do bookings? Do you do reservation? Is it purely for fundraising, etc.? And it's to find exactly what it is that you want your CRM to do and how you would like it to work within your organization. For example, you may want it to link within your website. You may want it to link with external other systems that you may have. And it's to build that wish list. So for example, I want a CRM with a ticketing platform that links directly to my website so I can make purchase tickets off it, which then also tracks sales from my e-commerce system and pulls out extensive reporting. So to build that into your requirements and your wish list in a basic Excel worksheet to start with. and to collaborate with your team members as well to find out what you may or may not need.
Okay, that makes sense, and I think many people will naturally want to do that, and so making their list and thinking about all those sorts of things. Once you've got that, I guess you need to find some CRM systems to run against your checklist. Now, already in this session, people have been sharing some of the CRMs that they're looking at. What else might people want to do in terms of deciding who they want to approach as part of a procurement process?
Thanks. I think it's always important to consider other systems being used by other organizations. So other CRMs. So if you've got any colleagues in other organizations, friends, if you partner with other organizations, it's always great to have a chat and discussion with them to see exactly what it is that they use. As Hans explained as well, if you do get funding from Arts Council or Bloomberg or somewhere else, it's maybe a good time to consult with them, as they have consultants that may also make some recommendations to yourselves. Another one I would say is to ask, for example, your web agency, if you work with one, see if they have any recommendations that they think that would work great with implementing with your other systems they may already be implementing and integrating into. And I would say lastly is if you're actually using any systems. So for example, if you're using a standalone ticketing platform or a marketing communication system, so maybe ask that vendor, do you integrate with any CRMs? Do you work with any CRMs? So keeping the products that you already have and making it work with others that they may recommend. So building up a platform.
Yeah, that's a good point, I think. Just seeing if you've got partners, technology providers already as part of the mix, seeing whether they recommend other platforms that they know have been successfully integrated before. Yeah, I think that's a good tip. Okay, so next stage is you've identified a numbers that you want to go out to. What do? Do you just look at the website and look at their lists? Do how do you get the information to find out if they're going to be a good match for you? Because I'm assuming that web companies, we are used to writing tenders and pitching for work, but I'm guessing that doesn't necessarily happen with these sorts of companies that are selling a standalone product. I don't know what would be the next step.
So let's say you've identified 3 to 5 CRMs now that you think may do what you want it to do based on your wish list or your requirements. And the first thing to do is, of course, make some contact with these vendors and to ask for a demonstration or a demo. So for them it's like a sales pitch from their end, where they just talk you through what it is that they can do based on what you've sent them or what you want your CRM to do, as well as demonstrating how the system could potentially work. At this point, I would also ask for a demo license. So for you to actually use the system and to get some understanding on how things may work. Again, to consult with any of your other agency partners as well when doing this, to see that it can actually integrate with your website or integrate with your other systems. So that's another thing to take into consideration. And it's to have these clear-cut and transparent discussions with these vendors. So to make communication with them, send them an email with your wish list, get them on a call, get them to provide you with a demonstration. And also, I think one important thing to always consider is to ask them, would you have a technical contact to talk to throughout the process of implementation?
That's interesting. A technical contact. So you're having an ongoing conversation, but I think I know the point you're making here. A technical person rather than a salesperson. Is this your point?
Exactly that. It's not to say that all salespeople will tell you everything you want to hear.
Yeah.
But a technical contact paired with a sales contact can actually clarify your wish list and your requirements. So they can actually tell you what it is that you will be getting for the budget that you have, rather than a salesperson telling you everything you can have. But when it comes for time for implementation, you're not getting actually what it is that you want, or the system not doing what it's supposed to do.
I think that's a really good Good point. I really like that idea of not just accepting what the salespeople do. They're doing it all the time, and and I've heard you seek out those technical people before, so they will, if you ask for them, I'm presuming they will put you in touch with someone.
Of course, yeah, they should put you in touch.
And I like the other point you made. Asking for a demo version, and I know it probably sounds obvious, but I also think that that's going to take time. So you probably want to build in time to familiarize yourself with a demo version. How close to your own situation, how customizable is a demo package, and is it realistic? Yeah, how does that work?
So some CRM providers may provide you with something called a sandbox. So it's a demo version which allows you to do a full integration or implementation for a certain period of time. And it allows your developers or your web agency to test and run the integration as well. And then some providers may provide you with just a front-end view of a demonstration where they allow you to upload some contacts, have a fiddle around with how the automation works, and how to generate reports or how to run simple ticket sales at events. And they will then clear the data a day after or a few days after. So you would have to ask for an extensive time period to familiarize yourself with these systems as well. So I would say never be embarrassed to ask for more time.
Yeah. Now, I imagine to some extent, a lot of these CRMs are all doing the same thing. In another way, they may be very different. So you are, when you're doing through procurement process, when you're going through a procurement process, you're either like, it's quite clear that they're all, it's frustrating because they all look like they're doing the same. How do you make a choice? And the reverse of that question is, how do you compare apples and pears? I don't know where the question is there, but it's just yeah. Do you have any sort of comments on that? I mean, pricing as well maybe comes into this part.
Yeah, so of course there's going to be different types of CRM systems. There may be a CRM system which is a standalone product which can do everything. So from tickets to sales to reporting to financing to fundraising to events management. And then there may be some CRM systems that may require additional products to be added to it, or additional vendors to integrate with. I think those are two things to consider. Another thing is when integrating it into your website or your mobile application or to any of your other systems, is it done through API or is going through external link? That's another thing that may affect how your user journey is tracked and how the CRM itself works, and other things to take into consideration. And I would like to say, lastly, is to always take into consideration, of course, with the current systems you have in-house, and how will it work with other systems that you may have, and how does this affect your team? Is there going to be more training that's needed with these systems? Does it meet the budgetary requirements? So, for example, you might find a standalone system that can do everything in one place, and you may just need to train up your team once. So you might have a big upfront cost because everything does work in one place, and you may need to train all your staff once, and that's all. And in the second year, the cost may go. Or you may find something which is a lower budget startup. So you may be using a CRM system which pulls functionality from other vendors, where you don't have to train staff members up. You may have to train staff members up in other areas, so different systems. For example, if you have different locations, train them up in these different systems. And every time you've got staff changes, this may, of course, incur another charge because you have to go through retraining using different systems. And it may start off at the lower budget end. However, over the years, it may work out more than the system that does all the standalone. So there's many things to take into consideration, Hans.
Thank you. There was a lot of things I probably want to go back on there, because I think but maybe if people have got questions that they want to follow up, you save them, either put them in the chat now or save them for later. One of the things I wanted to pick up on was this idea of trying to find something that does everything versus trying to find or using different packages that are specialist in certain areas. So should we be trying to get something that does everything for us, or should we be comfortable with the idea of finding the best in field for, say, ticketing and the best in class for fundraising? Yeah, what's your thoughts on that?
I would say it's really dependent on your organization, and your organization size as well. So, like I said, you may want a standalone system that can do everything, and that's great. Or you may have, like I said, you may already have some vendors that you work with. So you may have a communications platform that you're really happy with, a ticketing platform that you're happy with that you really don't want to change. However, you may need a CRM to consolidate all of your data. And at that point, that's when you may have a system that has 2 or 3 different vendors, however they all integrate and work together. And I think that's just down to preference.
Yeah. So there's no right or wrong approach here. It's what's right for the situation, and it's yeah. Got it.
Exactly.
Okay. I'm conscious of time, so I think we'll stop this bit and move on to the next bit. But as I said, if you've got specific questions, save them for the Q&A a little bit later, and we can come back to some of those bits if you want to unpack anything of that, or if you want to go on a bit further. So I wanted to try this. This might work, this might not work, but we are going to look at a few CRMs, ones that we identified, but we might, thanks Adam, thanks for joining us. Yeah, catch up later. We might ask some of you to join in this with CRMs that you may, if you know a lot about a CRM that you've mentioned earlier on, and you want to sort of join in and show people what you know about that CRM, I'd love you to switch on your microphone and join us at that bit. But if we're going to move from slides onto the whiteboard, and Antonio is going to manage the whiteboard for us. Just take a few seconds for that to warm up and get into place. So we set up this whiteboard that it's preparing itself, and we've got a list of a number of CRMs. Now, I noticed, I can't remember, was it Sarah who talked about MailChimp and questioned whether it's a CRM or not? Tugai, do you have an opinion whether MailChimp is a CRM or not? Oh, you're on mute, yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I would say from a very basic standpoint, MailChimp can be used as a CRM to manage, of course, your communications. And as Linus said previously, a CRM, there's a different definition of CRM to everyone. So it could be used as a very, very basic CRM to just manage your contacts, put them into lists and segment them in different ways, and to send them communications. So
Antonio, let's map that one as Tugai is talking us through it. So we're going to put that one on, what did you say? Well, obviously email marketing.
Yeah, I would put it down to email marketing and some very basic data analysis that it does already provide. So, for example, MailChimp will tell you your open rates, your bounce rates, how many emails you've sent out, to how many legitimate emails that there are, etc. So you get some basic insight, and it helps you sanitize your data.
So I imagine going back to the groupings that Linus mentioned earlier, this one falls very much into the sort of the content management area as well. So right. if you were invested in MailChimp, you would probably need to look at other systems there to build up from there. Yeah, let's take another one. I noticed someone has mentioned Salesforce. So who mentioned Salesforce? Feel free to join this conversation, Emily. And was it just Emily? So Salesforce, I know, is probably not one that's focused on the arts sector, but it is a very well established one. It's known across industries and sectors, and it's probably, I don't know, is it the most famous CRM? I don't know. Would you agree, Tugai?
Yeah, it's probably one of the most famous CRMs. It's probably one of the longest. It's probably been one of those that's been around for the longest time as well. So they've really developed what they have.
and I was talking to one of our clients yesterday who's taking on Salesforce. They are a youth orchestra, yeah. So, Emily, are you comfortable switching your microphone, or should we go through this one? Give you a few seconds. Just shout out if you are, but otherwise I'll just move on. So Salesforce, which of these groupings would you put these into, to Guy?
So most importantly, I would put Salesforce first of all in data analysis, email marketing, and finance.
Yeah.
And then what a lot of people don't actually know is that Salesforce can be used within the within the events industry and within organizations, within the arts.
So I never think of Salesforce in terms of ticketing. I mean, I don't know if anyone else in the room has experience of using Salesforce for ticketing, but how does it work? Is it in the sort of the core product, or how does that?
It's not a part of the core product. It's an application added to the product. So it's still Salesforce. It's not a third-party vendor, but it's their own applications that they developed for different industries and organizations. So, for example, they have developed ticketing, sales, memberships, fundraising, because they do work with charitable organizations as well. And Salesforce can do this across the board. It may depend on your budget, what it is that you do with Salesforce and what applications they provide to you. However, they will provide the add-ons, and it will make a system that's contained in one space.
You mentioned they work with charities. Do they do discount? I'm just thinking a lot of arts organizations are have charitable status. Does that mean they do offer discounts for charities?
Yes, of course, they provide a heavy discount for charitable organizations as well as free licensing, some discount on implementation and setup, and also with training. So that they do help charitable organizations quite a lot. They have a whole different department for it.
Right. So I feel a bit, well, no, I'm not going to say it. I'm not giving a plug to any of these in particular. I'm going to just pick some that I think might be of interest. But equally, if there are people in the room who want me to pick one of the ones on the left-hand side, do put it in the chat room. But I'm going to go on to a popular ticketing system that, and I know someone in the room who already uses Spectrix. Who was that? That was Carla. Hello, Carla. So thanks for the hands up. Obviously, Spectrix is known for its ticketing. I wouldn't immediately think of it as a CRM, but I know people do refer it to a CRM. So what other sort of components makes it feel like a CRM?
So first of all, if we start with based on the arts and the heritage sector, etc., I would say Spectrix comfortably goes in within the membership, fundraising as well, and the sales part. So because it allows you to add this own little e-commerce system where it allows you to upsell and cross-sell, allows you to take out memberships, allows you to fundraise. I would also say it has a very good data analysis portion within the system, as well as being able to send out mass emails and marketing. And very, very simple touch point. Like it does the very basics with finance. Of course, it's generating sales, so it will give you some data on your finance and some form of integration within your finance systems.
Right. I'm conscious of time. Let me do one more. So both Spectrix, Salesforce are expensive CRM systems. Is there a cheaper alternative for, you know, smaller arts organizations, for example?
Of course, yeah. So for example, there's one on the list, Jetpack.
Yeah.
So
I don't really know Jetpack. I know that we integrate it with WordPress sites quite often, but I don't know so well what its strengths are. I've not used it myself. What's it sort of used for mainly?
That's correct. So Jetpack is used mostly within the WordPress CMS. So it attaches to the back end of WordPress, and it's a very low budget CRM. And most of all, Jetpack, I would say its core works with data analysis, email marketing. And for example, if your website or WordPress website has a e-commerce platform attached to it, it can also track your sales. And then additionally to that, something that works with it, another application that works with the WordPress CMS is for events, which attaches directly to Jetpack, which then brings it across the spectrum of the 70 categories that we have here. Yeah. And it will work with ticketing, membership, and fundraising.
I know Foo Events because we have installed Foo Events for a couple of our clients who don't want an expensive ticketing system, but are running some kind of events, festivals, for example. So that is it built by WordPress, or is it just built for WordPress?
So Jetpack is built by the original developers of WordPress.
Got it.
So it is worked to, however, you can actually install it on other websites and applications as well. Yeah. So it does provide iframe tools for data collection and of course to integrate with our websites. You can integrate it with multiple amount of websites if you have them that do different things to enable you to collate and collect information.
So we've had a question from Yasmin who's asking, are any particularly focused on memberships? I'm guessing, Yasmin, you're saying that you've got about 3,000 people, or that's what you've got in mind. So some sort of membership, one that sort of leads on the membership side of things.
I would probably say membership-wise, there's a couple that stand out to me. So we've spoken about Spectrix that can do it, Salesforce that can do it, and as well as Foo Events and Jetpack when paired. But there's also another which is called Patron Base.
Yeah. Which
focuses on its member patrons.
Yeah.
So that's one that can be used, and it's a very good system. It also can run across the spectrum. There is also, I would say, Tessitura, which is up at the higher end.
Yeah, I think of Tessitura as a ticketing system as well.
Yeah, it is a ticketing system as well. So again,
did I see, not on our list, but did I see, oh, I don't know. I'm guessing, I'm not so familiar with the Razor's Edge, but I'm guessing that's more fundraising than memberships. But I saw someone that has, was it Nick? Maybe you can correct me on that one.
Hiya. Yes, so definitely a core fundraising system, but it can also do memberships. So we use it for both in the museum.
Right. Well, I want to move on now because we want to open up to Q&As shortly. But maybe this is a good chance just to take stock of any key takeaways that people have found. So if you, we're going to do a little summary of where we've got up to, and we're going to do a little bit of housekeeping, and then we're going to go on to the Q&A. So I would love to hear a few takeaways that you might have, so please put them in the chat box. Because if you have seen something that's useful, it might just help somebody else reinforce a point that they might not have got as well. So it's really helpful to see if there are any takeaways that you have got. The 3 takeaways that I prepared going through this earlier on was, it's clearly CRMs are something that when they're set up well, they can offer powerful insights to guide your organization. That's probably why you're using a CRM in the first place. But I think one of the things that I would say is that it's really important to take that time to consider the needs of your organization before you reach out to CRM. So you're thinking about what you need rather than being led by the sales and the features that they put out for their systems, which is great and helpful, you know, but you really want to think carefully about what the needs are to start off with. And one thing that I've noticed that we've been learning a lot on some recent projects is for clients to make sure they allow enough time for this decision-making process, for the procurement process. Now, I'm sure if I asked a guy how long it is, he would say how long is a piece of string. It's going to be short for some and for long. But what I have observed recently this year particularly is making sure you allow time for your stakeholders, not only to be consulted, but to buy into that choice in the end, to be taken on that process with you, so that they're there to support you and making it a success at the end. I've got a few in the chat box. So thank you, Steph. You say, oh, you've asked the question, Are those columns on the whiteboard table all of the features that a CRM should be considered to deliver, or are there more? That's probably a question for Tugai, just to sense check the columns that we put up there. Maybe, and Linus, were there things in there that you mentioned that should have been in those columns? So either you or Tugai. Did I miss anything out?
As well.
Okay. So I would most probably say, based on interaction with HDK clients running on procurement services, we have identified the 7 most important categories that we put on the whiteboard. However, there are more. So, for example, some may, as Linus said previously, there may be some forms of automation that you may need to consider. API technical specifications that may need to be taken into consideration too. So it just depends on the organizations itself. And the 7 that we put on the whiteboard are just the ones that we come across on a regular basis.
Yeah. So I guess, you know, if you're starting off not looking at systems, and as my second point on the slide, that you're thinking about your needs first, it might be that you identify something that we haven't identified, and then you could go through that tool and do your own version of that as well. Naomi, I'm sorry you couldn't see the whiteboard. So we don't normally use whiteboards, so this is the first time we've used it. So if anyone else had problems seeing the whiteboard, just let me know, so we've got a sense of whether this is not, you know, a good thing to use in future. But also to answer your question, Naomi, absolutely, the best way to see it now is to watch the recording of this. We will put a recording up probably by the end of the week, and you'll be able to see it in the video, I hope. If not, if it doesn't work out, if it doesn't come out on the video, then we will definitely make something up for you, so you do have access to it. Thank you, Chris, for sharing your takeaway. That's really helpful. So I'm going to leave. We've got a few more minutes before we go on to Q&A. We always ask you at this stage, for those of you who've been to our webinars before, just to fill out a survey. We do these surveys for free. We really enjoy doing them, actually, but we always want to make them better. And so we have a survey for you to fill out. There's a link in the chat box. I'm going to go quiet for 2 minutes just to let you fill out the survey before we do the Q&A session. So thank you. When you've done it, if you can just write done in the chat box. When I see enough of you have done it, I'll continue. If you're just finishing off, please continue finishing it off. I'll just do another little bit of housekeeping. We do these webinars, as I said, every month. These are the next 3 webinars that are coming up. And Antonio's going to share the link if you want to sign up to those and get those in your calendar for the future. Equally, if you have any suggestions for things you'd like us to cover, put those into the chat box as well. So we'd love to get ideas for 2024. I think if we haven't already got 2024 webinars up, we're going to be working on those very soon. And we also have a newsletter. We don't send them out very often. They're precious things. Every 3 or 4 months, we'll send one out, and it has marketing tips, case studies, industry insights, those sorts of things. And if you haven't signed up, we'd love you to sign up. And great, thank you, Steph, for that. Using a CRM alongside an impact frameworks in general, yes. Thank you. So I hope you've got some questions, because in the last few minutes, last 5 or so minutes, I'd love to do a Q&A and hear what you have to say. But thankfully, we have 2 that were pre-sent in. Thank you for completing the survey. We have 2 that were sent in. So we're going to answer Sarah, who's joined us live as well today. Sarah says, we currently have a huge database of industry contacts and colleagues that we've collated in a spreadsheet, in an Excel spreadsheet. However, it is a maze of people. I completely feel this. There are duplications, yeah, I've been there, and it is difficult to navigate and organize. I would love to hear suggestions for how to organize this data so we can use it effectively in terms of potential programs, methods of arranging information. So I think we've got a couple of answers. Linus, do you want to go first?
Absolutely. So, I mean, most, if not all, CRMs will let you import data from Excel files, and most CRMs will also be able to find duplicate data and clean it as well. And again, most CRMs can sort the data into different categories, so you can use it more effectively. Like, you know, contacts, you've got colleagues there, maybe potential customers. You can tag them with anything you want, really. So I guess it's more of a question of thoroughly going through the procurement process, like Tugay and Hans explained. So you can select the best CRM that best suits your organization. But I mean, there's also functionality within Excel itself to sanitize data, and there are also free online tools. So if all you're looking to do is clean data, you know, you might not even need a CRM at all.
In fact, Excel and Google Sheets have a way of deduplicating data. And you can look up on Google videos and they will show you step by step how to do that. So the deduplication should be quite a straightforward thing to do without spending any money. The organization is the harder thing. And I have got a tool that I have used that no one's mentioned yet, and it's called Airtable. I don't know if anyone else has come across Airtable. It's I think it's billed itself, or someone has kind of called it like spreadsheets on steroids or something like that. And what I like about it, it feels like somewhere between a spreadsheet and a CRM. You completely customize it, and you set up tables, and you can link tables, and it integrates with forms, so you can set up forms that will put data straight into it. You can put those forms online, and then you can join it with lots of other programs. A lot of these things do that now. They have APIs, and you can join them. So I've been using it for quite a couple of years now, I think, and find it really flexible and creative. That I can be quite creative with it. So Airtables is something that I would suggest there. I don't know if anyone else wants to answer Sarah's question, or anyone else has got some suggestions. Sarah's saying that's great. We were wondering if we actually do need a CRM system too. And yeah, great to hear about Airtable. So yeah, do definitely check that one out as well. You can probably send emails from it as well. I think it's that kind of system that, you know, with a bit of time on it, you can build your own system there. And then we have another question. Thank you, Sarah. We have another question from Carla from the Bronte Society. We intend, and Carla's here as well. We intend to embark on both a website and a CRM project this year. It's a priority to both develop a new website and migrate our current CRM systems into one new system. Should we get our CRM house in order before starting on the website? Or would we be better placed to find a CRM web development team that work well together and progress both projects together? Now, I feel a little embarrassed because this feels like we've got a vested interest in answering this question, Carla, and I really don't want this to be, this is not a sales pitch. This is we're just, it's a topic that we wanted to talk about. But obviously, no, I'm not going to answer that question. Tugay, can you answer that in the most unbiased way that you can?
Of course. So first of all, I'll start off with, if you was to get a CRM system in place before developing a new website, we have clients who also do this. So they'll go and find a CRM system that they would like to use, and then would want to integrate it within the website. Sometimes it's okay. Sometimes there are issues with doing that because the CRM may not be fully integratable with the website. A personal recommendation from myself when running these procurement services, not just at HDK, but previous jobs that I've had and areas and sectors I've worked in, is always good to see that the CRM and the website development process and procurement process is run at the same time, side by side. And what that allows is that you understand that the CRM, based on your wish list and your requirements we spoke about earlier, would be fully integratable, for example, with your website and all of your other systems that you must take into consideration, and that the website will also pass information back. So to be able to talk back and forth within each other. So it's always a good process to run this at the same time. And it helps when it's the same agency who's working on it, because their technical leads and developers will also be able to communicate with the technical contacts at the CRM, whoever the CRM vendor is, in order to best integrate that system into your website. So it does help to run them side by side.
I'm going to pick you up on that, Tugay, because do you really mean run them side by side? Because I think what you were saying is it would be good to have the web team talking to the CRM, the web people talking to the CRM, but then you need to have chosen the two first. So the procurement, or have you chosen your web team first and then you're asking them to help you procure? I don't think you're suggesting that at all, but I just wanted to just check the logic of that.
Yeah, it can be done in both ways. The one that's most practical is the agency that you usually work with,
that you're already working with. Yeah,
you can use their technical contacts and their technical leads to discuss technical information with the vendor's technical leads as well from the CRM provider, in order to best integrate and the best find value for the systems that you'll be paying for.
Yeah.
So yeah, it can be done both ways, but ideally the best way is always to put the agency that you are working with in communication with these different vendors.
So, I mean, just to give illustrations, I know we're working with one client, a big client that everyone will know, who have chosen us as their web agency first, and now they're just putting out their the invitation to tender for their CRM system, and we've read their requirements and we've given them sort of our feedback and advice on, and then they're going out to tender. They've invited us to. We probably won't tender it because of the nature of it, but there's those situations. Then we've had others. Actually, that's been more common with us, haven't we? We've had a lot of clients this year who have come to us first, and then they've wanted to look at the CRM system. Why do you think that's happened rather than the other way around?
I think it comes from speaking about, again, what Linus touched on earlier, which is data. So when clients usually decide they want to build a new website, they don't really think about the CRM, but they think about things like their ticketing platforms, their fundraising, their membership, and, for example, like the events management areas and different portals. And then it's after usually a discussion with us, a discussion with a web agency, where they actually see that a CRM system may be better suitable to their requirements and what they actually need, as well as it working better for them functionally within their organization. So, for example, a client may come in and ask for a website, and then they may ask for a ticketing platform that also works with their EPOS systems on their on-site locations, and then their finance department may need to analyze all of this data because they may need to do stock checks with their on-site locations, as well as their e-commerce website that they're running at the same time. And at this point, I think the suggestion always comes out is, have you thought about looking at a CRM system which can tie all of this information into one place and that can manage all of this data for you consistently, as well as sanitizing it at the same time. So whoever it is that is looking at it in your organization from the different departments will know what that data means.
I've just spotted the time, and I'm so sorry that we're coming up to the end of the hour. And we always plan to keep these much shorter, and then a topic like this is not surprising that we've gone over time. I want to pick up Sarah, who put a question in the chat box, and she said, "Do we have any? Can we? And this is open to everyone who might be able to answer Sarah's question. Any platform recommendations integrating a project management system into a CRM?" Now, that wasn't on our columns. That wasn't one of our columns, and I don't know whether. I certainly haven't got any recommendations, so I don't know if Turgai has for project management.
There's a lot of different project management tools and CRMs that actually work together nowadays. So, for example, there's Monday CRM, which it doubles up as a project management tool when it first came out, and now they have the CRM attachment to it as well. So that's one platform that the two work together. There's other project management tools, one which we use at HDK, which is Asana, which can also integrate with CRMs as well, and other platforms too. And there's a few out there, I'd say.
And I'm just doing it before I make a fool of myself, just quickly doing a quick Google. Someone in the group said Zoho. Is that why do I think of that one as being good for project management? It is a project management tool, but I think is it a CRM as well?
Yeah, it has Zoho has a CRM attachment to it, so it's actually called Zoho CRM, which is used which is mainly used to manage contacts and communications.
So sorry, have I got your name right, Tara? I don't know if you want to add anything to answer that question in terms of the project management side of things. I won't give you. Thank you, Sarah. I'm going to stop there because I don't want, you're all busy people and I don't want to take up too much of your time today. So I want to just say thank you very much for joining us. I hope there's some useful stuff there for you. As always, you can always email us if you've got any follow-up questions. There's an email on the slide there. So just send us anything that you want to as a follow-up to this. We're very happy to answer that, just to sort of round off this session. As I said, it will be put online and you'll get an email to say when it's online, I believe. And I really hope we see you in one of our future webinars. So thank you very much for joining us, everyone. Thank you.